Welcome everybody to the 9th One Show. Today is August 7th. Nothing heard here is financial advice. Please exercise respect when talking with others. Please raise your hands to talk in the X Spaces. Hopefully this will be an interactive space. Our mission is to have this X Space evolve into something beneficial for the entire HarmonyONE community, made by the HarmonyONE community. We posted some potential topics in this document. Tenacious DeFi will read through all of the posted topics. Some I'll not speak as much on. I'll ask for feedback from the speakers, and if you want a speaking position or whatever up here, just request it. Pretty open forum here. Hopefully we have some organic and constructive conversation. At any point, people can request to move on to another topic or elaborate on the topic at hand. Thanks everyone for tuning in and or listening in the future. One show lasts approximately 2 hours, depending on content. If you have any important topic and you can't stay for the entire X Spaces, please make it known at the beginning of the show. Lastly, there are 3 HarmonyONEs that can modify this Google document, myself, Peace and Love, and VOP. Please feel free to reach out to any of us at any time for an update, for updating this Google document. One show topics for August 7th, 2024. I always put this one on there, but I think it's important. Explain the difference between burning tokens via smart contract and sending tokens to a dead wallet. HarmonyONE DAOs updates. Sadly, it looks like HarmonyONE's Force 1 and Coherence are both, the websites are both down. CryptoLand DAO may be able to help. Stay tuned. We have hopefully some more information coming up this Sunday, or maybe possibly next Sunday. HarmonyONE DAO's updates from the HarmonyONE DAO. Paid mods, payments did go out. We're still cleaning out the multi-sig. We've added new governors, Bones and Giz. They're working the HarmonyONE accounts and being pretty active, which is going really good. We also have paid moderators for the CryptoLand DAO. Successful launch, and the second sale is happening now, 2451. And for a crypto legend, there's a lot of links on the Google document. So if you're interested in learning any more of this information, you can just check out the Google document and click on there. Let's see, we've got Discord invites, the websites, the X Spaces on Sunday, making coins, all on there. Quick recovery update. Let's see. Sometime in this month, hopefully this month or next month, we're going to kind of be doing a reimbursement for the Recovery One ambassadors NFT collection. So CryptoLand DAO is going to kind of work in tandem with that to give people the crypto legends for their other NFTs if they want to participate and join the Discord. So more details on that. We can mention it on the One Show and or on the Sunday Making Coin. I have a couple handwritten recovery updates here. The Medium article for this round will be coming out in the next couple days. The next funds will be sent out from the RMC on the following Tuesday. It's currently at a 75-25 allocation, 75 to Recovery Exchange and 25 to Modulo. The Recovery Exchange has been depleted of their 75%, which was about 6.3 million. And Modulo Burner got sent a little over 2 million, and they're sitting on 5.6 million. So something to keep in mind there, that's just not getting used up very much. So there's some statistics. Medium articles coming out in a couple of days. Modulo is still going for anybody that wants to use that exchange. We also have the Polymorpher GMX platform. That's coming out pretty soon. Maybe Theo can talk on that. I have the Uniswap V3, how to move the LP NFTs. There's a little video on how to do that on the Google document. I think it's pretty cool. It's something that it took me a long time to figure out, but I'm happy to know, and it's really easy. It's just a moving NFT. I think most of us in here have done that before. This is a big one today. Hopefully we can get into more discussion on this. Maybe I'll read I'll skip that one. What's this one? Oh, we also have official paperwork was sent from HarmonyONE to a major centralized exchange. I don't know if people can talk more about that or not, but then I'm going to go into the other one that hopefully we can roll into that conversation first is kind of my vote. So this is from the Validators the HarmonyONE Validators Telegram group. Could we add an agenda on one show to provide insights from potentially Fortune 1 or Patrick on EMS functions, and it would be valuable to the entire validators to learn about lower upper bounds, pros and cons, and they can tune VLS, and this can help bring back more validators to join. At the same time, rewarding evenly rewards to the delegators. So peace and love said he would speak on this. Validator 1 also provided some information. I believe it's on the Google document that I could maybe bring up here in a little bit. I don't have it on my written documentation. I think the rest is just kind of notes over stuff we've gone over before. So first, I'll hand it over to you, peace and love, if you want to talk about it. And then I don't know if you have the Google document there to reference, and maybe I'll just kind of see if you touch on any of those points, and I can kind of go through that. Or if anybody wants to speak on this, it's, this is basically addressing the fact that smaller validators are having a harder time staying elected because for different reasons, validators are grabbing more keys. And so, yeah, it's basically more knowledge because I'm not actually a validator because of my location and my utilities. So, yeah, I'm going to hand it over to you, Mona. And if you wanted to talk about it, that'd be fantastic. And like I said, anybody else, go ahead and raise a mic if you want to get in on the conversation. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll try to explain it the best that I can. Basically, Harmony validators use BLS keys to bid for election to get elected each epoch. There's a median stake where you, depending on how much stake you have, you want to add as many BLS keys to divide that stake to get to as close to the median stake as possible. And there's upper bounds and there's lower bounds. If you get, like, if you're a little too high above that median stake, you're in the upper bounds, your rewards get decreased, so you get less in rewards. And there's a lower bounds, which is really just a couple slots that if you catch the lower bounds, you get extra rewards. So validators try to get in that lower bounds to get the extra rewards. And I'm not sure exactly who came up with the idea in the chat. If it was Easy Node but somebody had the idea, or it could have even been Validator 1 actually. Just putting a limit on, if you have so many keys, you're not allowed to bid down into the lower bounds, and that would incentivize bigger validators to spin up another node, and it just makes it easier for smaller validators to get up and get elected. So it'd be a proposal that would have to be written and voted on and implemented, though. Hope that explains it pretty well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now I know about upper and lower bounds. That helps me. I think you're right. I think it was maybe Validator 1. So I'll just maybe kind of read. I barely got this copy and pasted before, but he gave me permission to read it. So again, this is on the Google document. So this is from Validator 1. I would add that any proposal to address key diving at the protocol level be posted at talk.harmony.one, and he has the link there. That's where validators will respond, and Harmony team will perform a feasible review. an example of a way to prevent excessive overbidding to limit validators with 5+ keys from bidding below the lower bound 65% of EMS. We could also exert social pressure on validators who underbid the highlighting validators on the staking dashboard as a warning to delegators that the validator isn't supporting decentralization. I think it seems like that's been kind of it just doesn't seem like that's working. But that is awesome. I mean, maybe more extreme. I don't know. Generally, good rule of thumb for validators to aim their bids between 95 to 105% EMS. The lower and upper bound range is between 65 and 135%. If a validator bids above 135%, the rewards will decrease, and the other validators will earn more. A validator bids below 65, they will earn more, and other validators will earn less. So, yeah, I think you're right. But it sounds more like an issue where this needs to I don't know. I guess maybe become a hip movement, or what do you get? What does anybody think on that?
I think it's proven to be that it does need to be a proposal written up. I mean, you can't stop. It's competitive nature as it is the EPOS system. So, like, unless you do something hard coded to stop it, it's not gonna stop. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree. You can't stop human nature, and I mean I don't know. Like, I mean, unless you had statistics right there, you could tell who maybe I don't know. Maybe they get some kind of slashing or something. I don't know. I mean, if those people go in. I don't know. I'm speaking above my knowledge, but I've heard that, like, even at the last couple of minutes there, like, people are able to snag keys, and that determines if a smaller validator is going to be earning rewards or not. But like Meta One class said, and I think you've said, and now I maybe understand, if you're on that lower band and you don't get elected for a while, when you do get elected, then you might get the 30 or 40 or 50% rewards, right?
It's all really luck in the draw because you could be sitting below that lower bounds, like, because you don't have enough to get quite into the lower bounds to get elected. And then you can get a good sized delegation, then that'll shoot you right past the lower bounds. You'll just be getting the regular reward rate unless you actually get those last couple slots.
Nice. Well, I mean, does anybody else want to key in? It's awesome to see everybody in here. Welcome, Swoop. Maybe we can get you up here in a little bit. Alan, HarmonyONE DAO, Peppa, Validator One, Utility DAO, Theo, Affirmation Kings, and Quests, and Mona. Welcome. Maybe there might be other people that my mobile internet won't allow me to see. So, anybody else have any thoughts on the keys issue? Any more input? Like I said, the links are on there. It could become a talk.one talking thing to, I guess, work towards the HIP movement. I think that's usually how the governance goes on HarmonyOne, right?
Yeah, I think I can just jump in terms of governance, and I'm reading through the EMS functions and everything in the proposal, and yeah, just writing it up. There tends to be in the past sometimes where people in the community will write it up and then kind of confer with the core team because the core team, I mean, is available, right? Like my DMs are open and whatnot, and easy to reach. So it's much less of a blind process than kind of on different chains. But I would say, yeah, don't hesitate to start writing that up and get a HIP going and see if we can kind of push that forward. A lot of the EPOS by nature, you're going to have some game theory and you're going to have like some kind of ingrained competition, but you never want to see that competition kind of slide towards centralization. And I think it's a unique thing that validators have been pointing out that, like, hey, maybe we can improve on this, right? Not something that just completely takes away from it, but an improvement and upgrade, however you want to phrase it. And yeah, just for me personally, just looking forward to seeing what either gets written up, and if there's either help or anything I can help coordinate, reach out to me as well.
And from a spectator, I think this became a lot more front and center after Harmony went from 4 shards to 2 shards, right? Because there just isn't that many more slots, right? I mean, I think isn't there? I could look, I guess, but isn't there like around 70 elected validators right now? I think.
I mean, to be honest, it's really been like this even with 4 shards. It's always been the competition in the lower bounds, and it's always kept out smaller validators. So even when we had 4 shards.
Yeah, and I'd say it's also like important to note that the way that the system works is that kind of anybody who has a slightly larger stake than those on the lower bounds can compete for those lower keys, right, and reduce their kind of delegation that they're going for the vote. So it's not necessarily just the larger validators that are kind of hogging all of these, like I think the phrase was key hoarding. It's kind of something that's in the system that if you do have a larger stake than those on the lower bounds, then you have an inherent advantage to kind of play around and essentially, hoard keys or kind of prevent those who are on the lower bounds who have maybe just that bit to potentially get elected, and keep them from doing so.
Cool. We got that one. Hopefully we can get the ball moving. Hopefully, maybe this is enough momentum to make a proposal and move forward on it. I'm open to. I mean, I laid out some information there. Is there any kind of topics that people want to go into, either on the list or off the list? Or we have a lot of different projects here. Like I said, anybody that wants to come up, give a mic request there. We can get you up here. Let's give it over to the room for a minute, and I'll kind of go through the Google documents, and I have some other ideas too. But throw it out there. I know there's a lot going on, so anybody got any stuff?
Yeah, I mean, we're, steadily making progress on our project. We're building, we got the graphics team on board. We'll start making some graphics next week. And excited to have something so everybody can try it out.
Hell yeah, you got the team going now. What are you up to? 5 people on the team now?
Not exactly sure, but there's gonna be a couple people at Frag Games. So it's gonna be interesting.
Beautiful. For anybody that wants to keep up with Kings and Quests, come on over to Cryptoland Discord. Got a space in there. Same with HarmonyONE DAO and Peppa. I don't know. I wish you'd come on and correct me on that. Peppa. Learn more in there. We'll see if we can get more people going there. Right now it's just kind of a spot where hopefully we can get more projects and information in one space for now. And whenever the traffic comes on board, we can kind of shift into more. But right now it just seems like right now it kind of seems like the people will join the Telegrams. It's a lot easier. I think you just have to have a phone number maybe to join Telegram, but on Discord you have to create a bunch of stuff and connect a bunch of stuff. So it's definitely maybe a onboarding issue. But I think after people get there, being able to share the links and not have as much, personally, it seems like there's less spam. You can kind of lock the door a little more. But yeah, I could go on about DAO stuff. I can go on about burning stuff. I don't know. Theo, did you want to talk about the exchange that's getting close there? Can you talk about any parts of it that are getting close? Any kind of holdups? I know the teasers are getting a little more extreme. I don't know if that's something you wanted to go more into, the leverage swapping that's going to go on, or any kind of I don't know. There's a lot of information going on now. And then also I might see if I can get a swoop up here in a little bit. But did you want to talk about that, Theo, or did you have something else that you want to talk about? We missed you last week, so we'll give it over to you for a little bit and see what you got. Appreciate you being here, man.
Appreciate it. I appreciate being here. And yeah, sorry I missed it. Had a little trip and got to see my family in Switzerland, which was nice and much needed. Been a long time, and yeah, just missed it by I think a day. I think even with just the flights, I think it's like 12 hours on the way back. But happy to be back and happy to see everybody still making it through. We won't talk too much about markets because we don't have to in here. It could be a safe place. But in terms of the DeFi side and kind of what's been going on, especially behind the scenes in Harmony, is a lot. And I think a lot of that has to do with the change in focus, at least that I've seen. So I've been there, I think a year and a half now, maybe almost 2 years actually. And a lot of the time it was kind of jumping from project to project. And I think this time around, a lot more focus on DeFi in general, kind of like making sure, like kind of head down crypto DeFi building. And I know Swoop is here and kind of David's been talking about this for a long time that Harmony should be doing it, but hey, we're here, we're finally getting around to it. And a lot of people in this space as well are kind of big proponents of it, which also helps us in a sense of guiding us in the right direction. And I think currently, so the exchange form and all of that, all good, all sent. And then it's kind of just a waiting game, but also a waiting game that combines with pushing updates. So it's rather than kind of waiting for certain things, whether it be listing or marketing support or whatever it may be, it's making sure that we move forward with what we have in a way that makes sense. So currently with certain markets like or networks and oracles, I was in the Pyth Discord, and a lot of people kind of they don't necessarily see what the activity is on Harmony, and I think that's something that I want to bring a little bit more to the forefront, at least internally, is something that it gives us an advantage because it's kind of like you can build whatever you want and it's not going to like hit you back in the face necessarily, but it also gives you a significant advantage that you can build something that's truly incredible for your users, and then people will take notice. So it kind of takes you off of the limelight and allows you to just build something that's useful. So for DeFi, right, we've done the Uniswap V3, we've done the Compound V2, and then shortly we'll have the GMX with some slight different features. We've onboarded some new DeFi people on that side to kind of boost that up and bolster our kind of initiatives on that side, which I'm super excited for. And then the big thing is just the added liquidity, the incentivization, the kind of the focus on DeFi, right? Because in the past we've launched things and it's kind of it's a launch to kind of just say that we have it, right? Like it's a fork and it's done, on to the next one. So then you get to the next point of having a fork that now builds into a narrative that now is at the forefront of a focus. It's like, okay, like certain things that might have been lacking in previous initiatives now might not be, right? So it's the liquidity, it's the marketing, it's kind of this ball that if you don't have, honestly, and you launch any product, no matter if it's crypto or not, it's not going to be a successful product, right? You can have the best tech in the world, but no one's going to use it if no one knows about it. So it's kind of reshaping that narrative for Harmony in kind of those early days where it was kind of everybody knew about what was going on and what was happening, but also making sure that it's a quality product. And I think combining, again, right, you have the Uniswap and the Compound, and then you go into a perpetual exchange. on one hand, you can say, oh, okay, people love perpetuals. We're going to have one. It's going to be successful. And then you stop there. Well, we've noticed in the past for the previous launches that we have that just doesn't work. And I think in anything that you try to do, right? Again, in Web 2, if you just try to copy someone exactly how they did it and launch it, you won't really succeed. The advantage that you have in Web 3 with things that are either open source or forkable, it's almost encouraged, right? Like you want more Uniswaps out there, and you want kind of people using your contracts and all these things. So how do you take that new narrative of, okay, we are going to launch a fork, but how do you change it to where it's not just another fork and now it's part of this greater narrative? Well, you back it with either liquidity or bootstrapping, partnerships, integrations, kind of all these things that maybe previous forks didn't have. So I think we'll see. We're trying to get the Python integration for the price feeds. We'll see how that goes in terms of development. I think the base GMX fork is finished, and then it's just implementing kind of unique features or unique twists, which again, for me, I'm super excited because we haven't necessarily seen yet, right? Uniswap is kind of carbon copy, but on Harmony. Compound, same thing. And you have, I mean, of course, you're going to have Harmony assets, but in terms of the contracts themselves, there's not really too much of that change because frankly, you don't really need them, right? Like, again, these are primitives, right? It's not the first time a perpetual is going to be put out into the market. It's not the first time Lend is, or lending platform, or Uniswap for that matter. But again, it's the narrative that's being formed is a DeFi focus and tying all of these together in a way that makes sense for the end user.
Utility DAO, do you have a question for Theo or just something? What's up?
Yeah, I was wondering if Theo has maybe has some updates surrounding the current status of Lend. I've brought up an issue with Soph about like 2-3 weeks ago, and I was wondering if there's any development on that.
Yeah, I can definitely speak on that. So I was out, and I think I noticed either the same thing that you were notifying, but internally, Protofire did kind of an analysis on that and suggested that the solution would be adding liquidity. So now that I'm back, I think I can push that a bit further, and I can try to see kind of where along the line why we haven't done since I've been out, and try to get that as soon as possible. But yeah, that so in terms of what the end user will see on Lend is added liquidity to all pairs to Lend. I think that's currently the only news, or I guess things that I've seen, especially from Protofire, who did their analysis and gave their suggestion.
Aren't you like afraid that the main wallet will be able to borrow way more?
So since I think the exploit with Lend that happened was similar to one that had already happened. So we know what it is from and what kind of the preventative measures that can be taken. I think if I can say either in the space or to make sure that we wait until that gets added, because then at the end of the day, it's the foundation that is risking those funds, and either a notification bar at the top. But I'd be more curious to see what the team knows, and again, just why the measures haven't been taken. But I think and then again, now Soph is out, so that makes it a bit harder to track down. But I think if I go to Steven directly, and then Protofire as well, something should be done immediately.
Cool, thanks for the answer.
Affirmation, were you having something along the same lines? A problem I saw you had a discussion going in the Protofire team with the Lend. Did you want to speak about that, or the same thing, different thing, get resolved? Or? No, he might be traveling. So since we're on the discussion of liquidity, so liquidity for land, that was going to be my question for the GMX and the 1,000 or whatever it is leverage on there. So it comes from V3 50/50 LPs, right? And so I imagine Harmony is one of the providers. Is it like cross-chain different V3s, or where does the liquidity come, or does it, that kind of ties into like when this does launch? Will it be like a soft launch, or is there going to be like VC, or how is it gonna is the foundation and bones just kind of getting laid down now, or is there, what's the plan for what's the next steps here?
So what I know from previously is the next steps are perpetuals just launching, and then getting GMX fork launched, and then some kind of panoptic fork, which is kind of perpetual options, which is again more of a brand new protocol, and something that for me makes more sense because then you can combine it with Uniswap v3, and it integrates pretty seamlessly, and you can trade options, which is nice. I think there's a bit more of a learning curve on that end, but I think it's fine. And then so it would be kind of this suite of now perpetual exchanges, and at least from what I've heard, it won't necessarily be on the like perp.harmony.one just yet. And I think it's just of allowing the users to play around with perpetuals that have more liquidity, and whether that's Panoptic or GMX or whatever it may be, continuing with that one. In terms of GMX and liquidity, a lot of it will be bootstrapped from the foundation, but which again, right, Lend saw none of it, and I think Uniswap saw a tiny bit of it. So I think that the game plan this time around is more of a complete launch on all sides, rather than kind of as soon as something is code complete, putting it out on the market and kind of just moving on to the next thing. I think a lot of what we've seen, especially lately, is that need of the due diligence and bootstrapping on both sides, where if you want something to kind of push to that next level, just forking it isn't enough. And especially with previous chains or kind of people that are trying to do the same thing, you do need to differentiate, and you do need to have that edge. But at the end of the day, if you don't have any liquidity, what's the point of having these like amazing protocols or GMX itself? GMX with no liquidity is not a successful product. Like this, there's just nothing that you can do about that. But in terms of the next steps, well, pretty much immediately would be more of that focus on Lend in terms of DeFi, making sure that that's all good, and then moving on to GMX, getting the liquidity there and the new contracts as well, and then moving on to Panoptic, and then finalizing like a perpetual exchange, and then potentially who knows after that. After you have the primitives, that's where it's kind of open playing field, where you have the basics of what pretty much all the chains offer. And then in my opinion, it's more of a usability and kind of user experience race. A lot of people have spent a lot of money, due diligence, and everything into these things for years, right? But there hasn't really been too much of that adoption, even though they've spent millions. So it's kind of being smart, learning from their mistakes, what works, what doesn't, and then kind of encompassing Harmony DeFi with that in mind.
Beautiful answer. Also, Stephen might be talking more about some of the bones and mechanics of some of how this will work tomorrow, right? Is it related information?
Yeah, I will say. I mean, I won't. I'll never speak for Steven. I do know that sometimes those spaces, they might have either titles or subtitles, but the kind of material of the conversation itself might not necessarily tie exactly to it. So I would kind of stay vigilant and be aware that it might not be, but also highly encouraged to participate and just. I mean, I wouldn't encourage spam, but just ask the questions that you want answered, and if they're not being answered, then continue asking feel free to send me a message, and I can try to relay it internally to kind of bring it more so to the forefront. But yeah, I think it is definitely, there is a space tomorrow, which I would encourage listening and asking questions, but also keeping in mind that it might not necessarily be answered.
That's a very beautifully constructed answer, and I'm slacking too. I don't think I added the links, so I will add the YouTube and or XSpace links to this Google document after we're out of here. I wanted to welcome up Swoop. How you doing? What's up, man? Do you have any news for us? Always good to hear your energy and your perspective. And congratulations on all your growingness.
Thanks. It's a few meetings a day. I've really, when I tend to focus on things, I tend to succeed at them. I'm not going anywhere until we have $1 million a day in volume. That's what I said, at least. But yeah, I mean, all in all, 6 months ago, we were lucky to have $5,000 in a day traded, and now it's regularly 30 to 40,000, and a bad day is 25,000 a day, and we've spent $0. I'm very proud of what we've done. We've done all of this with one developer, about $50,000 in spend total, and a fuck ton of persistence and passion. So yeah, I'm getting 2 or 3 meetings a day. It's really, honestly, you don't have to spend a lot. So I thought, how do we succeed? Uniswap is our main competitor, right? And I'm not going to go on too much of a rant here, but I want to share some perspective on how you can grow your project for free. By just thinking critically. So you basically, Uniswap is huge. DeFi Llama has been around forever. They're giant. They have a huge team. They have millions and millions of dollars. You know, and they're the only other on-chain meta aggregator. Now, to be clear, there's tons of projects that do what we do, but it's all cross-chain, like Li.Fi, and all those. They aren't competitors to us because those are cross-chain, you know, bridges and aggregators. We are ranking DEX aggregators, you know, on chain, like on a single chain, not jumping from chain to chain. We can do that too, right? But anyway, so I figured, well, one way to get free marketing is to provide data to these DEX aggregators, because we have 9 of them: Odos, 1inch, you know, KyberSwap, Paraswap, OpenOcean, all these aggregators, 0x. And I've made personal connections with all of them except for 1inch because they're 1inch. And I share data with them. I say, this is where you're winning. This is where you're losing. Why are you losing? Here's the chain you're losing on. Here are the token pairs you're losing on. Here are the token pairs you're winning on, right? And this is super valuable to these DEX aggregators with like 500,000 followers and huge audiences, right? Because I'm going to make them look good and I'm going to help them improve their product for free. You know, because we have at least enough volume for a decent sample size, and it's a pretty good spread. And show them whether they're improving or not. Anyway, so we've gotten tons of activity and free marketing from just that, right? Like it cost me $0. And now when a chain reaches out and they don't have DEX aggregator, like for instance, Tycho, it's called. It's like a smaller chain. It's like 1 million chains. Tycho and Talos, right? Like they only have like OpenOcean integrated, kind of like Harmony, right? And I'm telling them, I'm like, hey, do you want me to introduce you to Odos and KyberSwap and Paraswap and 0x? And they're like, yes, right? So then I can grow these, you know, so it's kind of growing from there. Anyways, that's how I've done it, honestly. We've spent $0 and we've gained 1,100 followers in a month, and we've doubled our volume twice in 45 days. And I know this is a long story, but it really, really is valuable if you think critically about what you can do to market for free, right? And data is king, right? I guess we're in a unique position, but if you can ever just sit down and brainstorm ways you can just connect with projects, even if you don't integrate them directly, just get on their feed, get them to retweet you. You get a bunch of free fucking marketing. At the end of the day, the way we're going to win is by, sounds silly, but growing our reach on X and Discord and Telegram. So cheers. Life is good.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful story, and yeah, it's still going. Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do with the crypto land DAO. I mean, just trying to, you know, on a lot smaller scale, obviously, but just trying to connect, you know, artists.
Not really though. We're not huge.
Yeah, I mean, just connecting like devs with artists, with people that have ideas, the DAOs, the whatever, and trying to be flexible and just putting in the time.
Yeah, and leverage your relationships with Theo and the people Theo knows, and Steven and others, right? Even though Harmony's a little smaller than it was, right? They still have great connections and they're great people, and yeah, leveraging that has been key to your growth, I think, right? Like these spaces are still going strong and they're very valuable to a lot of people. It's good to see a lot of new projects popping up. Mona over there, Kings and Quests, fucking posting, building in public, loving it, absolutely loving it. It's been great to see. Utility DAO, I'm not super familiar. I'm sorry, but hi.
Who's taking it?
Yeah, we're just trying to keep the excitement going and hearing everyone else and all the success that everybody else has had. I just can't wait to get going. One developer though, congrats. That's truly amazing.
It's been fun. I think I don't know if I could say this, Theo, but like Theo, for instance, was like Steven wants a subdomain so that when someone clicks swoop/harmony, it goes straight to the Harmony chain and requests somebody to switch chains. So Steven might use that at his conferences and stuff like that. That is free marketing. I'm honored to be able to do that, right? So I immediately like DM'd our dev for a little side quest. And he wasn't super happy about it, but it is what it is. It's for the sake of our growth. Like when you have a small budget, right, and you're a small project competing for, any kind of a voice in a very crowded space, everything helps. Especially someone like Steven, it doesn't really matter what your opinion is of him. He talks to a lot of people, right? So if he's gonna use Swoop or even talk about us at all, then I want to leverage that and hopefully build a stronger connection with Steven as well, regardless of opinions. Regardless.
Right, we're moving forward. That's got to be put in front. We're moving forward.
What about recovery? Do they ever join these spaces? Because we're going to do a thing with them too. I think we're going to have a dedicated page for them to swap depegged USDC for pegged USDC. So just very simple, but with a link out to their exchange. Do they come on?
Yeah, Matt's been on for a while, and now he's kind of slacking. So I'm gonna go wring his neck now. I talked to
I'm a DM
I talked to him.
I just got off a call with him.
Did you really?
I'm a DM
Dude,
right now.
yeah, tell him to get in here, man. He told me. So can you go into that? So I was gonna bring it up, but I wasn't gonna bring it up without you in here or knowing any more information. So I know you just went through. It's a big deal for me and Harmony for what you're doing. So how is Swoop and recovery? What's the bond and the thing that's coming there? If you can slow it down for
Yeah,
me.
it's pretty simple. So on Swoop, basically, there's only so much we can do because recovery hosts their own liquidity on their own exchange, right? And they don't really have like APIs built. APIs meaning so that we could put their swap on our page, right? Basically. So essentially, we have to link out to their website, just a link. We can make it look fancy and stuff like that. But on our end, what you do before you use their exchange is you exchange whatever on Harmony to the depegged USDC, right? And then you exchange that on their exchange. So we're gonna make it easy to do that. Basically, on Swoop, you can save a token pair, like something that you trade often, because we have millions of them, millions of tokens available on all these chains. So you can kind of save your input output swap, and make it a clickable, just a one click button on the right hand side of the screen, so that if you trade tokens a lot, you don't have to keep looking up the input and the output. Right, you can just click. It's a small quality of life feature, but we want to basically make a subdomain, a dedicated recovery subdomain where it just saves the depegged USDC as the token you receive. And we might put the pegged USDC as the input, just as initial, but you can really swap anything into it. And then right next to it will just be a link to their exchange. And then the real juice of this partnership will, because that takes an hour, right? It's really not that crazy. Anyone can just do that on their own, right? Just paste the depegged USDC contract address into the output field, and there you go. But like it's the tweeting and the marketing and saying, hey, use Swoop to get your USDC, and then you have a link right there to go to our exchange. And if us and the recovery page every round are linking to each other constantly over and over again every single round, then that's a partnership. It's small, and again, it's pretty simple, but it works.
Sorry, I was getting all excited. I didn't mean to raise my hand, but since you paused, all right. So, that's awesome to be able to make it convenient. I don't know how to say this nicely, but it's really confusing on Harmony right now with having pegged assets and not pegged assets. So if Swoop can come in there and be
Yep.
a tool to make that somewhat simpler, amen to that. That's you call it simple, I call it effing awesome.
Yeah, that's the simple. I mean, it really is. It's nothing groundbreaking at all. It's literally just pasting contract addresses.
It
and
is.
saving
It is
right?
to the. It is
and,
to the
and
new
it's something,
user. It is to the new user. They don't know
but
what the
like
heck's going on.
Yeah, and I didn't at first too, actually, to be honest. But it's quite simple. You swap anything into the depegged USDC from years ago, and then you take that and you swap that into money on the Recovery One exchange, right? Onto pegged, and you arbit basically. So there's gonna be like arrows, right? Like and simple one sentence descriptions of this, just so people really understand what's going on. It's a simple like 2-step, 3-step process, but just making it like stupid simple, right? And it's so easy to do that, right? It's so easy. It's not groundbreaking whatsoever. There's no like tech here. Even doing something with Mona, right? Like making Mona the default token that people go to when they switch to Harmony, maybe something like that. I don't know. There's a lot of options here that are just really simple and not groundbreaking whatsoever, but that help, right? And then it's the backup. It's the constant talking about, replying to tweets, quote tweeting tweets, just showing up and being active. That's what really matters most. Paired with a simple trading process.
Yeah, being open and open and available. That's like key, right? And persistent or tenacious, however you want to say it. Where
Love it.
where are you guys with, or is it an open ocean, or are you already there to be able to aggregate swap.harmony.one?
Again, that's since we aggregate aggregators, it's on them to add. I can connect anyone from Harmony to. They already have connections with OpenOcean. It's just a matter of doing it, I guess. And I know some people on the Harmony team's hands are tied on what they're allowed to work on, right? Depending on what leadership wants. I see Theo down there. He's like screaming into his phone. But yeah, it's literally unfortunately. I wish we could do more. I mean, but I mean, we could go out of our way and put swap.harmony.one on our page, but it goes against our general like ethos of like what we're building, right? It's much more scalable for us to leverage these DEX aggregators, and more beneficial to us to connect them with the Harmony team, right? But they already are. But Theo, man, I want to connect. I want to connect you guys with Odos too and Kyber Swap. Like, I really want to get Kyber Swap and Odos on Harmony. We're really close with them, and 0x now too. Actually, I just had a call with them today with 4 of their team members at 0x, and again, providing data to 0x on where they're winning because they're not performing super well, even with their V2 product. But I really want to connect Theo, you, and others with 0x, Kyber Swap, and Odos in particular, because again, if we can get more than one DEX aggregator on Harmony and Lead.fi, actually, I keep adding to the list. Lead.fi, we're very close to them. Then volume on Harmony is going to go up because you're going to get tweets from Odos, right, and Kyber, and then using Lead.fi, people have another access point to get their funds onto Harmony. Again, Theo knows this is important, but again, hands tied on priorities, unfortunately. But I mean, just surely Steven sees the 24-hour volume on Harmony is $15,000, right? I never thought I'd see a day where our little grassroots project would have double the volume of Harmony consistently. Very proud of that. But I know you guys can bounce back if you're just able to show Steven the importance of getting volume on your guys' deck screener page, even just simple. Get people, get some DEX aggregators on there. Get some bridges. I'm beating a dead horse, I know, but I'm going to continue to beat that dead horse until it's deader, until it comes back alive, I guess.
We love you, Theo.
Yeah, well, first I want to say yes, 100%. Please connect us. And I think even at the last meeting or the last space, I think that we did together, you were like, "Oh yeah, just hop in my DMs. You know, we'll see what we can do." I think immediately, like we just 10 messages, like super fast, immediate connections. Then we started talking to
Oh yeah,
aggregators. It was insane the speed that we were able to get things done, which was phenomenal. And then yeah, then it kind of goes into this kind of kind of slow, like not like quicksand, but something where like you feel like, okay, we're so close, we're right there in terms of these integrations, and then kind of the priorities like they shift, which is
yeah.
which is difficult and definitely a hard thing to navigate. And then people like you and people like the others in this space, for example, make it that much like more kind of not necessarily bearable, but you know, enjoyable, where it's like this, there is potential and there are these connections that can be made and there is a benefit for all parties involved. So it's a no-brainer, at least to me. And then kind of moving forward with those connections, with those conversations, at least what I've seen is kind of some people might be tasked on that. And then the main priority of the entire chain kind of gets not pigeonholed, but hyper focused, I would say, where now it's the GMX fork, and that's everything that anyone can do. And if you're doing something on the side, then it's not necessarily a priority, and you shouldn't actually be doing it. And then either like repercussions or whatever down the road. But I think it's not necessarily something about priorities. I think it might be something due to either communication or something at some point, because no one would want their chain to have less liquidity, less volume, less users, like less fees generations, whatever it may be. And all of these aggregations and all of these things, like getting listed on them, help, right? Like you launch a Uniswap v3, and now no one can access it unless they're deep inside the Harmony ecosystem. Like, of course, there might not be that volume that we would see on all these other chains, but I would say in terms of what we can do is yeah, trying to benefit from each of our connections and try to see if there's things that are mutually beneficial, and also seeing it through to the end. Because I've seen several times where it starts well, things are rolling, and then all of a sudden it's a hard stop, priority shift, everyone focus on this, which is a bummer, because then you start to kind of lose those connections, you start to lose the momentum, and everything kind of drops off. But yeah, just a long way of kind of saying like, yes, please do send those, and I'll try again. I'll try my best to see how far we can get it.
I mean, look, at the very least, you can at least start the conversations and be transparent with them, right? And just be like, hey, right? It might not be 3 months or 6 months from now, but at least opening those DMs and getting the Telegram chats open. I just sent you those 4 in a DM, just if anything, just to remember. And we can introduce that at any point. But even if it's just for you, Theo, you know, like just having those connections is going to be valuable for you in your journey at Harmony and beyond, you know.
Yeah, appreciate it. And again, everything like you share with the space, and kind of all the things that you've seen, definitely learning as much as I can from it and trying to see just how much that I can either influence within Harmony, but also kind of help Swoop and everything in your endeavors. And we've kind of gone back and forth with potential things. And yeah, I think it's, especially with Harmony, like this, yes, currently the volume isn't there, but there is a lot of the followers, a lot of like the X kind of presence. There is a lot of people, like the brand name, for example. A lot of people, if you just mention Harmony, they'll know of Harmony, for better or for worse. There's kind of still the name that's there, and then if we're able to deliver something, or at least continue the momentum of these small actions, because at the end of the day, yeah, you can have one DApp that kind of brings everybody back and all of these things, but if the underlying things haven't been polished, there's no real point, at least in my opinion. And then it's just a matter of these small changes that over and over again if you're able to make them, like say a simple integration, right, with one aggregator, regardless if it's 5 or 6 or 7 aggregators, you just get one. And that's honestly, if that's able to happen on Harmony, then we're rolling, because that's just, it's the start of something. And then once you have that momentum, you've gone through to the end, it's that much easier to keep going.
I was going to ask, is there, in your opinion, Dave, is OpenOcean, does it have like higher metrics to be able to build, or is it just a lack of, like, they just don't see any financial benefit to doing it? Is there a different aggregator that might be more willing to do it? You know.
I just don't think the conversations have. I don't know. Theo can probably. I think Theo's the one in DMs with them, or somebody at Harmony is. It depends on what they've talked about in their DMs, in their chats. I don't think OpenOcean would be against it. Generally, these DEX aggregators, when they're building out their networks of liquidity pools, right? Because at the end of the day, the more connections they make with these DEXs, they have tough jobs. The more routes they have, the more options they might have and benefits over their competitors. In addition to fractionalized routing, i.e., 10% goes here, 10% goes there. It gets very complex, and that's exactly why Swoop needs to exist, because of the millions of tokens. If you trade 2 ETH to MOG, say on ETH, Li.Fi might win that trade. If you trade 5 ETH to MOG, Odos might win. If you trade 10 ETH, OpenOcean might win. And that's just that one token, right? So, like, no one has time to go to all these different meta aggregators at this point, and find the optimal best price, which is why people use Swoop, right? We save you time, lots of time. And that's why when people start swooping, they generally delete a lot of their bookmarks. Just saying. But it's and that's also what's contributed to our very slow, but very gradual like very obvious and gradual growth. Like, it really is just a super slow, week by week growth in users, unique active wallets, and daily volume traded with no money spent. And that's because people slowly are deleting those bookmarks and telling their friends. But that said, to get back to the original point, I think it's more beneficial to add more aggregators, right? Because right now, I mean, if I'm going to be frank, like, the only reason Swoop is useful, besides having the price charts right there, and of course a cross-chain bridge and access to a broader EVM ecosystem is because you can rank multiple meta aggregators, right? When you have a chain where there's only one meta aggregator, like on Harmony, like it's really you're just using OpenOcean with a different skin, right? Does that make sense? Like, it's in our benefit too to connect Theo with Odos and others, so that our product is more useful, obviously on Harmony, because again, I mean, I shouldn't say this, right? But it's just the transparent truth. It's literally just using OpenOcean with the Swoop skin on it, like on Harmony, right? Because it's just OpenOcean. There's no ranking. It's just OpenOcean, right? So it's just like whatever they integrate is what there is. I hope that makes sense. But of course we have the price charts, and then you can bridge, cross-chain swap, and you can have access to all your other ecosystems on one page. So there's some other benefit there. But on Harmony itself, right? It's just OpenOcean.
But it's not even OpenOcean on swap.harmony.one. I mean, it's devs that want to, make a little bit of ARB, because I have Hog, Hog's there, and somebody has finally built something that if I do something on one exchange, it affects. If I do something on swap.harmony.one, it affects Sushi Swap. So somebody else did that. I don't think that's just a manual thing. That's not an aggregator. That's just a manual aggregator. Right?
I mean, it's in. Think about it from OpenOcean's perspective, right? They've got a million chats open. Their job, right, is to connect with as many DEXs and liquidity sources as possible, right? So they're going to go to the projects like Uniswap and SushiSwap that are already on all these chains and just integrate them. And that's what OpenOcean has done, and that's what OpenOcean uses on Harmony, right? SushiSwap, like the baseline DEXs that are across all these ecosystems. Because from a time perspective for their BDs, it's much more cumbersome to start digging into these DEXs that are on just one chain, right? Especially the smaller chains. So it really has to be pushed to them that, hey, look, swap.harmony.one is like more important than SushiSwap and Uniswap or whatever else on Harmony, right? So that way OpenOcean is like, well, look, if we're going to have Harmony anyways, we might as well have the most important DEX on Harmony, right? They already have it, so they might as well. Once that point is conveyed and APIs are shared, then then there you go, they'll integrate it. I mean, it should only take a few hours, really.
Dio, should I invite OpenOcean and a couple other aggregators onto the next one show, or what?
I can get them on here.
Oh, awesome. Let's have a
I mean, shit, I can spearhead that conversation, but Harmony doesn't pay me, so just kidding. I guess kind of indirectly they do. I do want to help Harmony though, so I mean maybe Theo, maybe I'll ask them and see what their appetite is for that, I guess.
Awesome. What's the timeline on the recovery link on Swoop? Like month, quarter, year?
Oh gosh. Well, we just gotta. It depends on how many side quests open up between now and then. Like 0x wants a dashboard, so they have like 1 million followers, so it's in my best interest to prioritize that. And then it's like there's this Block Scout. I think Harmony might use Block Scout actually. Do they for the Explorer?
I think
yeah. So Block Scout loves Swoop. I had a call with them yesterday. They love our product. In fact, they right now, when you go to the top of Block Scout and you click, they have like a little drop down, a DeFi drop down, and there's a button that just says swap, and you click it, and it takes you to Rubik at the moment. They want to put Swoop on all 17 chains that we're on as that link for free. Literally. Because they just love our product. Because honestly, we're better than Rubik, way better. I love Rubik, don't get me wrong, but we are better objectively. So we're cheaper, better routes, more routes, better product, better UX, everything. But it's so they want to put us on there, and then so that's another side quest, right? They want us to use Block Scout for all the post-transaction like links to explorers, right? Which makes sense. They want us to drive traffic to them, and they'll drive traffic to our site. So that's another side quest, right? So then I have those. And then it's like, well, we have recovery 1, 2. We only have 1 dev, so I have to like be careful. I don't want to overwhelm, right, our 1 developer with side quests. But to answer your question, long story short, say a month, but it could be done in a week. So I don't know, probably more like a month. The last thing I'll add there is we have Solana now integrated. So if you want to swoop cross-chain on Solana, you just you can bridge to and from any token to any token, EVM to Solana on any chain. Super easy. Same with Blast too. We got Squid Router integrated as well. We didn't. Again, DEX aggregators did, so it benefits us. And then it's the next thing that we're going to do. 2 things. Tiered fee structure, so that way the more you trade, the less fees you pay. If that makes sense. So it's not just a flat fee, but it's tiered, which is going to be huge for us. And then secondly, gasless approvals, because right now you have to approve each individual aggregator for every token, right? Like, because that's just how blockchain works. And we don't want people to have to pay gas for that. So there is functionality actually to be able to do that without paying gas approvals and approve bulk, like in bulk. So you can approve all 9 aggregators without paying any gas with 1 button, which is pretty fucking awesome.
Hell yeah. And you're still airdrop and points are accumulating, right? Isn't that still going?
Yeah, we're approaching $10 million in volume over the last 90 days, which is crazy. I know it's not a lot, actually. It's really not. Some aggregators do that in literally an hour, but for us, it's huge.
That's great success. Yeah. What do you? Any comments there from Mona DAO, Utility DAO, for Swoop, or anything going on with you guys? You guys want to chime in here? Give you a second.
Love you guys.
Hey, we appreciate you, Dave. Your energy is second to none, man. Awesome. Cool. Got all that stuff. Hopefully, hopefully we can get aggregators on there. Hopefully there's also the push to get the swap.harmony1 recognized. I think that's what you're calling it, the deck screener, recognized by deck screener, and get more legitimate there. So I don't know what their metrics are, but whenever some of this stuff starts to fall into place, it'll be a beautiful progress.
That's another angle. Yeah, that swap.harmony1 needs to be on OpenOcean, right? Odos and Kyber Swap needs to be on Harmony, and swap.harmony1 needs to be recognized by deck screener. So those are all three of those things would be massive, and they are literally just a few Telegram messages away. That's the beauty of this. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of finding the time for it and prioritizing it.
Cool. I mean, it's been like multiple weeks or months that DeFi has been getting pushed. So hopefully DeFi stays in the spotlight, and we,
Don't remind us.
So yeah, let's just keep it going. Dominoes, keep it going.
Dude, Theo, show Steven a chart of the daily. I'm sure you have. Oh gosh, show him the chart of the daily transaction volume. Be like, Swoop has 3 times the volume of the entire Harmony chain for 3 months in a row. Come on, I know Harmony can do better than that. Like $15,000, bro. It's killing me.
Theo's got his mic tied over there.
I know what he's thinking.
It's killing me too. That's why we started Kings and Quest. We got to get that volume up. I've Harmony stake with Mint Bees, and no volume means no bueno.
At the end of the day, that's the primary metric for success of a DeFi, an L1,
So I'm hoping when Kings and Quest launches that it's going to create a lot of volume, a lot of speaking, a lot of people talking about it, and a lot of people coming to Harmony. So we'll see if reality matches my expectations, but my expectations are pretty high.
Please create the most addictive. It doesn't need to be the prettiest thing in the world. Doesn't need to be right. It doesn't need to, and I'm not trying to give you a lecture here. I'm just giving you my opinion here. Like, make it fucking addicting. Like, just make it addicting. Make it so that people have a reason to use it every day. Doesn't need to be pretty. Doesn't need to be great, but just addicting, right? And you will win.
It's going to be all of that. It's going to be pretty and addicting.
He's leveraging AI and just kicking its ass. So he's making it his bitch, to be blunt about it. But he's doing really good. He's not trying to reinvent the wheel. He's kind of doing what you talked about. He's reaching out to these different places. He can, instead of sitting there building a whole new one, he can purchase it and integrate it into the game and move on with the vision. So I love his work progress and energy, and it's been a fun ride so far, and excited to go further. But yeah, I mean, something that needs to happen in the space is just make it easy, right? So much of this stuff is so complicated and so scary, especially for new users. So what you say is really easy to integrate. Well, that it's going to make it even easier, and people will be able to understand DeFi on HarmonyONE if you with a couple clicks of a couple buttons and a couple smart contracts, and it's
like, what was that game that was like somebody made it on ApeCoin. It used ApeCoin, and it was like a mobile game, kind of like Temple Runner or something like that, where you literally just like. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Oh gosh, it was like this stupid simple mobile game basically that used like ApeCoin, and they made like. The volume was just insane just because it was a really simple, addicting mobile game that probably took more than 8 hours to develop, like one day. But the key is it wasn't pretty. No one even knew who the team was. They didn't care. It was just a fun little game to play, right? And it wasn't just like, oh, visit this building and click and stake your tokens, but it was like a game, right? Like where you actually want to play, and it was like Temple Runner. I don't know if you guys have played that. I'm pretty sure it was like Temple Runner, where you try to just get as far as you can, like an endless runner game on mobile, because mobile is king honestly, unfortunately. And honestly, a mobile is something else that a lot of crypto projects ignore. It's mostly desktop. So that's one. That's the last thing I'll mention. Kings of Quest. Make whatever you're building more fun on mobile. Make it more fun on mobile. I know it's a pain in the fucking ass. It's a huge pain in the ass, but it is so worth it because like that's really where people. I mean, honestly, I really do think that's where people want to game. And if you look at traffic, it's over half of it is on mobile. So it's just a huge pain in the dick to get all that shit to fit on a tiny ass screen. But yeah, it's worth it.
You going mobile, Kings and Quest?
Well, first I'm just trying to get something up, right? Step one is just get made and get something up, and then yeah, I mean, I would like to have a mobile version of it, but it wouldn't be the same as the web version. But the web version you could play anywhere; it just won't be as fun on and mobile as the desktop.
It's so much fucking work. But yeah, getting something up, just like getting something up, is obviously a priority for sure.
I like the earn for coming daily, situation, and maybe if you come for a week straight or a month straight, you get something like that. I like that. It's something easy.
Well, if
For
you
sure.
we're giving away tokens if you log in, so we can't make it any simpler. You come log in, play the game, and you get free tokens. So
Are there like streaks? Like if you log in like certain days in a row, maybe there's a 10 or 20% bonus or
no, but
something.
that's not a bad idea.
Anything to right get that return visitor while not you don't want it to be
I don't
botted,
want them to
obviously.
leave. I want them to like eat, sleep, playing the game.
Yeah. Shower with it, yeah, everything.
He's gone the classic drug dealer route where he's going to give stuff away and give teasers, and get them hooked on it, and then start making it fun for them. But giving it away
Is
for
it
entry.
just you? Kings and Quest account? How is it just you, or forgive me, I don't know. I'm not super familiar. Like, how many people are building this?
So right now it started off with just me and AI, and so now we've got 3 other devs. And then also I've contracted with I'm working with Frag Games. So Frag Games did all the graphics for Decentraland. So we're gonna have them do the graphics.
Cool.
And they've done some other big projects too. So we're gonna have them do the graphics for our game. So they'll do the rigging, they'll do the motion capture where they'll do the bodysuit and capture the motion for the characters. But you only have to do that once, right? You do one punch, boom, you got a punch for all the characters. So they'll go through that, and they'll be hand built 3D beautiful characters. But I've thought about putting up just garbage, putting anything up, but it's better to have something that's engaging, something that's beautiful, something that people actually want to look at.
Look at why crypto gaming projects fail, right? And learn the lessons through them, right? Like that's the idea. Are you bootstrapping this yourself?
Yeah, I took all my HarmonyONE off of Mint Bees, and we're using that to fund the project. So yeah, I'm bootstrapping it myself.
What's your runway?
Looking to have the project up sometime in October.
Nice. That's pretty soon. Congrats. Good for you guys. Last question. Do you have any connections with DFK, or are you? I've been thinking like you could certainly leverage some kind of like one tweet from them would be absolute fucking game changer. Not that you couldn't do it
Oh,
yourselves, but
I'm gonna start antagonizing them soon. Don't worry.
yeah, even if it's negative, like anything, try to get in their DMs. Try to get
I'll show our first made 3D character versus their pixel crap, and that's all we need to say.
Let's go.
DFK should never have left Harmony. They did, and now they're gonna die on Clayton. And I think it's just appropriate for them, just die off in the shadows somewhere. As soon as we launch, you know, people play DFK. You know, some people will always play it, but I'll tell you, a majority of people are going to just leave DFK and our
Okay.
game.
Can I? All right. I don't know you that well, and I don't want you to take this the wrong way. But why the spite? Why the negativity? Why not approach it with positivity? I know. I agree with you. They shouldn't have left. That was their choice, and they'll pay the consequences from that. But why not try to get a retweet from them and build a positive connection as opposed to the opposite?
You know, DFK has just never been a project that has been exciting to me. I mean, I think the graphic sucks. I think the objective of it sucks. I mean,
I
if you
agree.
go listen to the AMA these guys are doing, they're like, "Hey, we released this feature, yay!" I mean, they're not even excited about DFK, and so they're just putting
I
out this
agree.
generic crap just because they're putting something out. I mean, it's an abomination to the crypto community and to gaming and to people in general.
Also, they gave almost their entire supply to an insider and then lied about it after. Anyway.
Whoa, yeah.
We won't talk about that.
So
I didn't say
Let's
that.
not.
So the different thing between us with us is we're just a game. We're not a DEX. We're not going to be a DEX. We're just a game.
Yeah.
You know, you want a DEX, everything's on swap.one or swoop or whatever. You know, but we're not doing any of that, and so it's very simple. It's very engaging, but it's also going to be very complex. You know, when you look at the game, it's going to look very simple, like, oh, this is simple. But when you start playing it, you're going to be like, oh, wow, no, there's like layers here.
And there is a token.
Yeah, the KAQ token, and the AI is going to control the dungeon. So when you're in the dungeon, you're fighting against the AI. So the AI is going to control what the creatures are doing in the dungeon. So it's going to be unique. It's going to be cool.
I'm excited. All right.
Love it.
Me too. Any other topics? Anybody got some stuff? Anybody? What an awesome conversation. I'm excited. You know, some of the stuff that sometimes some of the easiest stuff is some of the that has some of the best results. So that's where I'm at. Just gotta make the.
What's next for Mona? If they're here still.
If Mona doesn't want to go, Utility DAO has their hand up. So what's going on down there? You want to? You're asking about Utility DAO too. So take away, man. What do you been building? What do you got going on over there? And I also, if you could talk about after whatever you're talking about, after you're talking about what you're talking about, if you could talk about the One Moon 2.0 type of game plan, because that's crazy. We hit that yesterday. But go ahead, man. Utility DAO.
Yeah, so just to chime in on making things simpler for people, that's basically the credo for Utility DAO. So we've been slowly expanding our page. I think a lot of the projects who are around right now or have been earlier in the call have gotten a message from me asking for information. And for instance, Swoop and Kings and Quest, I've added you during this call to the page. So check it out. Let me know if you want something changed. And yeah, it's pretty cool. It's expanding. We've added a token creator today, which I'm pretty excited about. It allows users to easily create ERC20 tokens, and the big caveat is that they're all OFT compatible. So basically, any token created within Utility DAO token creator is an OFT, so it can be easily integrated in layer 0. So yeah, that's pretty much for Utility DAO. We've got some pretty cool stuff in the pipeline, like doing the final test on our liquid staking token, which I'm even more stoked about. And yeah, so basically that's that. And then you had a question regarding One Moon.
Yeah, maybe the potential of a One Moon 2.0 that doesn't have a whatever it is, 12 or 13% tax on it.
Yeah, so
The first token I ever traded.
yeah, that's pretty cool. It's the same for me. Well, not first,
Sa-
but the first moonshot, so to say.
It's the reason I added RPC to Harmony way back.
Yep, that was my day one crypto experience. Was One Moon. Anyway, sorry, go on.
Yeah, so like the utility DAO adventure basically started with fixing a front end for One Moon after Mochi went down. And out of that connection, you know, we've been talking on and off, and they reached out to me asking like, "Yo, we want to continue with One Moon, but we're stuck on Mochi Swap. What can we do?" And the issue with reflectionary tokens like One Moon is that they're incompatible with Swap, with Uniswap v3. So yeah, we're exploring options to basically do a wrapper, a One Moon v2, and Chowder and Frisky are still working out the details of like how they're going to manage the transition liquidity wise. But yeah, I don't really have any news on numbers or estimated dates, but it's being worked on.
Awesome. I mean, that's just knowing is cool as heck. But that's great. I mean, it's got to be kind of complicated. The devs left. The liquidity is like somewhat locked up, right? For One Moon.
Yeah, so it's in the token contract, it's bound to Mochi Swap basically, because of the automated liquidity functions. So yeah. And yeah, well, you can host it on, like, you could host it on DFK or any other Uniswap v2 fork, but Uniswap v3 is incompatible with these kinds of tokens. Which also brings me to maybe a question for Theo. Is there a reason why like the swap doesn't also have a Uniswap v2 deployment internally?
Did you hear that, Theo? You kind of cut out. Why he asked why there isn't a V2 option on swap.harmony.one?
Yeah, I was trying to just quickly off the top of my head remember while we were deploying it what kind of the mindset was. But I think the only reason is just the prioritization of V3 and just not prioritizing adding V2 support as well. I think the question in the beginning was not necessarily having say V2 support and V3 and kind of this all-encompassing Uniswap. The question was V3 or V2 because in the beginning we were thinking of just doing V2 itself, not even going into V3. And then in terms of functionality, eventually we deemed that if a user wanted to have the functions that the V2 supports, you can still do them in V3. You just have the trading to go across the whole bounds of the assets. But in terms of just supporting them, I think currently it's not necessarily a priority. So that's why in your case, Utility DAO now can kind of solve that need and also build and expand. And I don't think we would necessarily prioritize in having the support for both. I think we would just continue with V3 as is, and allowing people, if they want to have the kind of the simplified liquidity providing that you experienced on V2, then they can, and it would still allow them to have both functionality. But in terms of getting the support of V2, I don't see that on our current pipeline.
I completely appreciate the V3. It's I'm not even close to learning how all the different ways that you can leverage the liquidity, but as far as I know on the V2, you threw the liquidity in there and it's 50-50, and that's what you got. Now you can set your percent that you want to get. You can set I don't know, endless amounts of different things and options on there. You could different liquidity stop losses and all that stuff. Lots and lots and lots more for me to learn, but and it's cool to be able to move the liquidity around. Hopefully they can work on being able to visualize the assets in that NFT, but yeah, I've appreciated getting to be able to learn it.
Hey Theo, does swap.harmony.one have like API or any documentation associated with it? Like, what would OpenOcean need? Because they want to add it. I already DM'd him.
Sweet.
I mean, because again, the argument is if you're going to be on Harmony One, you might as well integrate the main decks. I just don't think they know it exists. Is there? If you could you DM me like any API link or anything that you have on that so that they can add it? Because they want to. So that's not confirmed. I cannot speak for their team, but there's interest. So if you could DM that to me, that would be great.
If it can be hooked up by the time we're off this call, that'd be even more better gooder.
That would be hilarious. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, I just don't know if there's any API documentation or links that you could share.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I know that the only, like, I think the documentation itself is just pulled from Uniswap. So I don't know. I hope that we have the API as well, but I think that's something that I'd have to quickly look to check.
Yeah, and if there isn't, then we know why they haven't added it, right?
Yeah, because I remember, I don't know if we like, because this is also like for context, right? Like David and I had this conversation, I think months ago, and we opened the conversation with OpenOcean and everything, and getting aggregators, and then we were close to an integration, but then kind of the whole like deprioritizing stuff happened. So, and in the time, right, nothing happens in between because there's not really anyone pushing for whatsoever. But I think if off the top of my head, I might have remembered a conversation with Protofire about an API, and that's a quick search in Telegram. So hopefully, if I just search it and I find API, it adds it for you, and I can send it right away. But if not, like,
yeah, that's great.
I'll send it in the group that we have. That I have with Protofire, and then send it immediately to you.
Because on that side, most of the work is going to be done on OpenOcean's end, right? So they would just do it, which makes it super easy. They've got millions of dollars; they could do it.
Love it. Yeah, hopefully coming soon. You could just ask the HarmonyONE bot, be like, "We need this information. Send it here, send it there." Coming soon, hopefully. Cool. What awesome spaces, guys. Anybody want to have any closing words of wisdom? Any more talk about any kind of stuff? Getting towards the end here. Doing pretty good, but a great time though. But I'll shut up for a second and see if anybody's got anything.
I just want to say definitely a great space and a lot of good insights and feedback, and that's amazing that got a hold of OpenOcean like while we're on space here and get that ball rolling again. So that's huge. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for everybody for coming, and great space. Thank you. Love you all.
Thank you, Utility DAO.
Thank you, guys. I think all of us here also need to just respond and like and interact with each other's tweets. All of us regularly. It'll just help everybody out.
Right, everybody sharing everything. Tides rise with the all boats rise with the tides, right? Utility DAO, you got some closing words of wisdom for us, sir?
Yeah, thanks, guys. And if there's any small tooling or features you'd like to see on Utility DAO, or maybe to enhance your own project, just reach out, and probably it's possible.
Beautiful. What a wonderful space. After we close it out, I will add the YouTube and X space for tomorrow's Stephen and I always call it lossless, timeless wallet. I believe they're having the spaces all connected onto the Google Space. We have these one shows every other week. We also have another X spaces on Sunday afternoon USA every week. So these one shows are every other week. The other ones are every week. So they're all recorded. Check them out now. HarmonyONE has been recording these and putting them on their main YouTube. So completely appreciate that, and I completely appreciate all the support from everybody sharing. Speaking of sharing, it's great, you know, to get the energy and the momentum and getting everybody here and being able to work things out like live. I love being able to be a part of it. And so I appreciate everybody here, everybody listening. And yeah, with that, I guess we will close it out, and we'll see you guys next time. I appreciate you so much. So thanks so much. DeFi out.